faith can be misconstrued in the way people sometimes think of religion or rules or the afterlife. But really, the faith also comes from relationship and family, right? So trust in each other, believing in the good in those around you. And that's what it takes to build a group of people that are going to lead and build something.
Welcome to Encouraging Leaders, a podcast that exists to remind CEOs and aspiring CEOs that you do not have to lead alone. I'm Mark DeBron, and today I'm joined by a good friend and a CEO here in St. Louis, Nolan Ruiz. Nolan leads FF&G. It's an owner-operator of over 33 McDonald stores here in the greater St. Louis region. The FF&G name stands for feeding people through faith, fortitude, and generosity. I love talking with Nolan about this. His family values extended through the business. And it's actually a second generation. He's the second generation ownership of a business like this. His parents own and operate successful McDonald's franchises out in the Sacramento area, which is fascinating. He has also a deep heart of service, and he does that in all the areas where his stores show up in the communities, and he serves on the board for the directors for the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce here in St. Louis. So welcome, Nolan, to the show.
Thanks so much, Mark. Appreciate being here.
Yeah, it's good to see you. I think about this podcast. I've been looking forward to the conversation, and I actually start all of the conversations with one question because I needed to know that I didn't have to do this alone. And so I just think about, like, when in your leadership journey did you learn that you didn't have to accomplish everything that you wanted to accomplish on your own?
Yeah, so that's an interesting question. And I think I learned that at a very young age. So working alongside my father, seeing, my uncle, his family working together, I always knew that you needed help, and family was always there for me and for us growing up. And so I moved out to Missouri, and as I was growing, help was hard to find. And I think the moment that switch kind of made that full transition to, hey, it's time to pull the trigger and get some good coaching, was when I joined my YPO forum. And I'm all of a sudden at this table with all these guys that really have their stuff together. They're working on their business, not in their business. And I thought to myself then, boy, I need to get my act together. So I asked them, if they had received any coaching, and they had, and got some recommendations and went from there. So
that's so cool. I love it. So you got the example early. You saw it from day one that your parents were leading in a way that they weren't doing it by themselves. And
right.
Then as you get out in the world and you're growing and you're leading and you're building a successful business, so that you were already building a successful business, but you start to look around and you're like, hey, I think I need to level up, and you ask for help again. I just think it's so cool. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, when I first moved out here, right, I had a lot of help, a lot of colleagues within the, I guess, McDonald's franchise ecosystem that were helpful. I had a father and an uncle who were running, between 8 and 12 restaurants. So when I first started out here, I kind of had all the help that I needed. But when I grew beyond that, to that level of 15 franchises, 20, 30, it was a different business, and all of a sudden I didn't have that there weren't too many people that had that experience of building that way, and I needed help.
Yeah, so the number of people that are capable of helping gets smaller as you get larger. And that's what I think, that you learned the pattern of asking for help, and you weren't afraid to ask for help. You were doing it, and then you got stuck and you asked for help again, which is so cool. I think I used to tell myself, congratulations, Mark, you're stuck. It means that you've grown, you've been given enough responsibility, that there's enough business underneath you, enough leadership, that you do not have what it takes right now to do this alone again. And so that is, I get chills, because it's actually what happens if you keep growing. It will happen on another level and another level and another level. And so I just think it's so cool that you were already shown that pattern in a family business where they were asking for help, so it allowed you to do it.
I feel that way frequently, and it's a chance to grow and reach outside of yourself, and it's never been a bad experience.
Yeah. You mentioned YPO, so I'll mention it as well. I'm a YPO member as well. And I think about that forum experience, which is a small group of CEOs that gather. I know it's a confidential setting, but just from your experience, what has it felt like to have people that are around you that are peers and helping you grow? How has that played into your growth?
It's made a world of difference. All of a sudden around others that are going through similar things, and to have peers to rely on and learn from their experiences, to not have to reinvent the wheel, so to speak, is incredibly helpful.
Yeah. I think about adulting. I call it adulting because as a kid, I had peer groups that were put together by my parents. And then whenever I got to middle, whatever, you sit there and you go, wait, who's putting the peer group together? Who's getting
Right.
the friends together to learn and grow? And it's us as CEOs. We actually are the ones that have to say, I want a community, and then go find that community. So I love that you made that choice. I want to go back to these family values. You've got a name of a business that's not a normal business name. You've got it. It's called FF&G, and it stands for feeding. Say it to me, and
Feeding people
what it
through
means to
faith,
you.
fortitude, and generosity.
And what does it
You
mean to
know,
you?
Yeah, so faith is belief in the direction of the company, belief in the people that are leading the organization, belief in the people on the team, and that success is if you put work into it, is there for
Hmm.
the achievement. So that's the faith piece. Fortitude, fancy word for hard work, strength, the importance of rolling up your sleeves and getting after it. So a simple one, but and one that anybody starting their own business understands well.
Yeah.
And lastly is generosity. And so most people think when I say generosity, they say, "Oh, well, we give a lot to charitable causes," and we do. But what we mean by generosity is more an attitude of generosity, reaching out to those around you and going above and beyond to help them succeed in their role and wherever they're going in life. So it's very much connected to this idea of development and relationship. So those are the three values, and together they've been the core to our success.
Well, it really, for me, getting to know some of your people and watching how they live out those values has been really meaningful to me. I mean, faith is something that, personally I've been working through and learning, and how does it mean, what does it mean, and how do I build that into a business? And we've got religion on one side, and then we've got this faith definition that you're using to teach and train the idea of believing in a future that's possible and that's good, and that if we work hard, we can actually make something come to reality. Faith like that is something that feels inclusive to me, and doesn't exclude based on any of those categories. And so I've just really, really appreciated getting to know that inside of your team.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and thank you. Right, so faith can be misconstrued in the way of I mean, people sometimes think of religion or rules or the afterlife, but really, the faith also comes from relationship and family, right? So trust in each other, believing in the good in those around you, and that's what it takes
Yeah, I think
to build a group of people that are going to lead and build something.
Yeah, I think it either takes faith or craziness, or maybe a little combination of both. You're growing, and
Right.
I think about how I've never run a McDonald's myself, and I think about one store could be very chaotic for me to run, and then I think about three would be like I would be chasing all over the place, and you have 33, and they're moving forward. And I think about your own faith, that things are good and that they will be good. And so talk to me just about your own risk profile, your own willingness to step out and grow beyond your capacity, grow using faith as a core value for yourself. Talk to me about how does that feed into you?
Yeah, so it's been a core part of how I've grown and the decisions that I've made to grow. So moving out to Missouri to begin with, it was a scary thing, and a lot of the acquisitions that I did, I was never ready for them. It was never a perfect fit. I had to believe that I had the tools, and if I didn't have them, I'd be able to pick them up figure it out. And that's where faith came in, because I think there's no way that I would have been able to grow at the pace that I have had I not been willing to take a leap that I wasn't necessarily ready for.
Yeah.
So I've always had because of that, I think, a healthier appetite for risk, and I just had a lot of good examples as well. So my father starting his own business, and just the history of his parents and what they were able to achieve and build just through hard work, faith, reliance on each other,
Yeah.
and that's what at the root for me was created the confidence that everything would always turn out well.
Yeah. I just love it. It opens up an effective faith. What I hear is it opens up our ability to grow faster than if we don't have it. We can actually pour in beyond our means to be able to grow. And it's something that every business owner has to get. Every leader that's listening, you have to figure out, what does it look like to actually have enough courage, to have enough faith to be able to step into the unknown. And you're doing that, which is just beautiful. I want to shift a little bit to people development. I know your heart for people development. You've been talking about this every time we're together. You're sitting there saying, I want world-class people development systems inside of McDonald's. Tell me, where does that come from? What steps have you taken? How does that look for you?
Yeah, so it aligns with that core purpose of generosity and development that I was talking about. And for me, McDonald's is such a central part of the community. There's few business locations in any community that are exposed to as much of the community, or as many as you are at McDonald's. It's kind of where the community comes together. So a lot of people start their careers at McDonald's. It's a first job. So this idea of development and helping people begin their life journey, or even restart it, right? That was an attractive notion for me, and something that I've always aspired to lean into. So that was more the inspiration. And now, what is the work that we're doing, and what are we trying to build? It starts with creating a training program, and we've done that. That's doing well and getting better all the time. And then it's just adding as many resources as possible to the development journey beyond shift management, and recognizing that we want to encourage people to leave us as well, right? And people don't need to leave us. I mean, there's a career path here, but for many, they're going to move on to do different things, not necessarily better, but different, and whatever may be in line with their life purpose, because we all have one. So talking about that and establishing that as a core vision
Mm-hmm.
and purpose is a big part of the work, something that we've been really spending a lot of time and energy on. And it's coming to life in beautiful ways, and it's growing. So I'm encouraged.
That's so cool. Well, I mean, the heart that you have, so the value of generosity, and then how it plays out in the desire to have an entry point for somebody to come into. You got emotional whenever you said, or come back to, or tell me, like, it's a place where people could actually step in after they've had something happen. Tell me about that one. When you said it, tell me what that means to you.
Yeah. So you have people that are coming in from every walk of life, and from a variety of a spectrum of different challenges, whether it's having to pick up the pieces, an addiction, or if it's somebody that is looking for a safer, more wholesome environment to raise a family, and they've moved thousands of miles to a country where they don't speak the language to live out that American dream. Those are, a lot of the people that come to us as well. And the journey's similar for them, right? As somebody starting off on their journey of life, their career.
Yeah, so it could be a 16-year-old looking for their first job and they're just on their way to college, or it could be somebody coming in from another country with a second language as English and trying to figure out how to bring a family into a safer spot.
Exactly. So the teams within our restaurants are as diverse as the customers we serve. It's pretty unique and pretty incredible.
Yeah, I've been watching and seeing how you're managing dual language and you're doing training in two languages and you're doing instruction. You're able
Right.
to manage that. Tell me about what
Right.
that means to you to be able to provide places where that can happen and support for that.
Yeah. Well, it's just important, and I feel blessed and privileged to be able to, that it's come together in a way that we've been able to do that. But it's taken a lot of work, and you need the right people,
Yeah.
and that's not always easy to find.
Yeah, well, I mean, the attractiveness of what you're building, this values based leadership that has vision for the future that can attract people in, and then generosity that allows people to come in and learn and grow from where they're at to where they could be is phenomenal. And it's not something, I don't have a lot of close friends that run McDonald's restaurants, and now I have one of them. And so just seeing how you're pouring in, how you're building, how you're developing future leaders, and how anybody can come from anywhere, whatever walk they were on, and start to grow and contribute. It's really touching. And so I just, the people that are listening, you're all working in businesses trying to figure this out. But whatever it is that you're uniquely gifted in, having strong values and then being able to build systems that allow people to step in and learn and grow and contribute while they're doing it is powerful.
Yeah, and witnessing the transitions and growth in leadership of some of the people that have been with us for a little while, it's edifying, really. And there's so much truth to. I tell everybody this. It's when you teach somebody to be a better leader, when you teach somebody how to lead a team, manage others, you're teaching them how to be better at relationships generally. You become a better father, mother, sibling, spouse. So it's pretty neat.
Very cool. On the celebration side, I want to give you a chance to celebrate your team or yourself or your family, wherever you want to go with this one. But sometimes all of the things line up and we just knock it out of the park. We do a really great job as a group. If you think back through the last 5+ years of growth, is there a time that sticks out to you that says, like, this one, we just nailed it?
Gosh, I can't think of. I mean, every transition has been unique, and I gotta say that this last year, probably the last 12 months, it's been full of a coming together, I guess, and of a leadership team. So at the supervisor, so we'll call it the mid manager above the restaurant team,
Mm-hmm.
and they've come together in a unique and a special way that probably there was never the opportunity before, because it was always just a constant growth, a constant shift in the infrastructure of the business. And so finally, I'd say within the last 12, 14 months, we have a team that love each other, love working together. And what's so cool is they're just also green. So the future is very bright.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to point to something, that's the one that occurs to me.
That's awesome. I just love, when the team actually is assembled and you've got the gelling and you're feeling that and they're forming and they're norming. And now you're like, okay, like we've got so much potential growth ahead of us. I can hear the faith coming out in that share as well. Well, it is so cool to hear some of those and being a little bit close to the business to see it. If you think about when you stepped in, you came out to St. Louis in what year? Okay. So if you
It'll
think
be
back to
10 years
2015,
in August.
that's awesome. An amazing growth story. So you go back to 2015 and you're looking at your younger self and you know what you know now. You've got 10 years of experience and wisdom now that you didn't have before. What would you tell your younger self? We've got a lot of young leaders that listen to this podcast. What would you tell yourself? And what do you wish you had known then?
Yeah, I think I would say that the journey is. I would start with saying, do not be afraid, right?
Mm,
And it's all gonna come together beyond even what you expected. And then I probably also would have said, look outside yourself a little bit more. Don't just bury your head and you know. Uh, Nose to the grindstone 24/7. Look outside yourself. Look for other people going through the same thing. If I had joined YPO earlier, I think that would have been very helpful. And, and then also the same could be said. I when my parents bought their first McDonald's and when they grew their organization, kind of one restaurant at a time, the talent that we developed was from within. So that's what I knew, and that's what I tried to do here. And it was a tough lesson, and it took a few mistakes in attempting to learn that. But I realized also that, if the growth out here is coming faster, and you can't wait on, talent within and the development of that talent. Sometimes you have to look outside.
Mm.
And I think that if I had learned that a little bit earlier, that could have been helpful too.
Yeah. So join YPO and then don't be held back. Pour into your people, but also be willing to bring in talent as you need and help and support. It's not an either or, you're doing both. That's what I hear. And then the first one, do not be afraid. It's interesting. What I hear there is have a little faith. Just keep on pouring into that it's going to be okay. And just, you would tell yourself it's going to be okay. And great things are to come. Just keep moving, keep moving, keep moving. And you would encourage yourself that it's okay. That's what I hear. I think it's a lesson
Yeah,
that all of us need for sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
there were moments, but deep down, I always knew that it was going to turn out
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
It's awesome. Well, if you're listening and want to get a hold of Nolan, you can find him at the Ruiz Group. But if you want to get a hold of me, I'd be happy to talk anytime at encouragingleaders.com. I just really love your heart for people, Nolan, and sharing that with the people that are listening, that it can be both purpose and profit, that you can focus on your people and have a profitable business. They actually come aligned. And when they do, it's a beautiful thing, and a team can form, and you can go off and do great things. So thank you for spending the time, Nolan. Really appreciate it.
Thanks a lot, Mark. Appreciate it.